Everybody just getting ready for our monthly support webinar, so bear with me. Just getting the streaming stuff sorted out. Okay. It's about cradle to grave today, Ali. So it's about the expert algo and the manager. We're going to talk about entry strategies and that sort of thing. So we're going to look at signal and then trade management. So it's due to start in a couple of minutes, just getting everything working, making sure we're streaming live on YouTube, which looks like we are doing. Just make sure it's working. Yeah. Okay, and on Facebook. Okay. So just waiting. Yes, futures, but I can look at forex or anything you want me to look at, even crypto. So Ali, did you want to look at anything else other than futures, crypto, forex, that sort of thing, stocks? Just let me know in the chat, and we'll get going soon when we are ready to go. So we'll get started with it. Hey Wolfgang, how you doing? How you doing? I think Wolfgang will be doing some live sessions with us soon, in a few weeks, maybe. Let's go back to NQ to yesterday, and we'll set that up ready for when we're due to start, which is now. Okay, so we're going to get started. Hey, Stealth, how you doing? So what I'm going to do is just pull up from yesterday. NQ. Pull up on the 1 minute, because I know there was a signal on the 1 minute yesterday, so bear with me. There we go. I actually traded this, and those in the Discord group would have seen me make 200 ticks on this trade yesterday. So it all started with an expert algo signal on the 1 minute, but then I looked for the opening range and then went and traded that. So I'm just going to go off that chart and go to a 12 minutes. So bear with me. Okay, so yesterday, one of the first things that I look at, just bear with me a second, guys. is one of the first things I always do is frame the chart, look at overnight highs, lows, Asian lows, European lows, basically for those in Europe. And this is what, this is the sort of thing that I did yesterday. I didn't trade today because I've had some electrical issues, so I changed to solar power. But basically, I was looking back a couple of days just to make sure we're tying in some of these lows here and here. I'm going to actually put ellipse here. Can you see this big congestion here of all these wicks? The lowest point, just where my point is there. And then the top of that zone is the bottom of these wicks. So we basically formed a support zone. It wasn't tested, but you need to set it up. The same with this one. We look at this, we got this big wick testing the bottom of that zone. And then if we move this over, we've got another wick to test to give us the top of that zone. The top zone here, basically, we're looking at European highs at this point. Again, wick here at the bottom of the zone, wick here at the top, also tested at the bottom there. So gives another zone. Short-term zone here for the European afternoon going into the pre-market for the US session yesterday. Good double bottom form there. So it always gives us some confidence at that point there. So really, when we're looking at this to frame that chart, to understand if it breaks, where's the next sort of resistance zone? And that's all the way up at this point here. We look at these pivots, great resistance. And that's where it found resistance there yesterday. I'm just going to move that up slightly. So again, explaining what I've done there is we've got lots of tests in this zone at this point. We've got a test at the top on that pivot. We've got a test at the bottom on that pivot. So that forms our zone for our target, if you like, and that's probably where you would look to take profit. But we're going to use the manager in this case. So the chart is totally framed. We're ready to go. And that's, really all the work we need to do if we're going to trade NQ that day, understanding where those support and resistance zones are. So going back, we got on the 1 minute here, we got a 6-star buy. Now, the 6-star short going into that, we don't short into support. We don't go long into resistance. If it had come down below here, if we had a decent risk reward, we would have shorted this. But again, we look back further into the European morning, there was a 6-star buy here, but we're going into resistance. So we're not looking for that trade. Excuse me. What we're looking for is we're looking for one of these big candles here. This was the opening candle here for the NQ. Okay, so those that were reasonably aggressive here, that would be your entry at this point there, and that's 6-star buy. So regardless of where you are in time, let's just look at the pure sort of mechanics of cradle to grave. Okay, so at this point here, 6-star buy, we're through or trying to push through that resistance zone. Okay, that you one tick above that signal candle, predominantly that's where your entry will be. Your stop, so let's just change that to green for go, for entry. And your stop would be, in reality, it's got to be below this resistance here, the support here, okay? So although our signal candle low is this point here, we've got a double bottom test here, and it's been testing that overnight just here as well. So this is really where our stop should be. So we've got a stop, we've got an entry. Okay, where is our risk to reward? What's it looking like? If we were to put a stop here an entry here, our risk to reward to the next resistance zone, because everything else is fresh air in there. Is fresh air. So we've got over 1 to 2.5 risk to reward there. So we've got a nice bit of fresh air for this to go, and that that's crucial for us, that risk to reward. Anything below 1 to 1.6, 1 to 1.4, you've got to be a little bit. You've got to be very aggressive with those types of stops on there. And again, when you're looking at the market open at that specific time, you've got to have a wide enough stop. So if you've got a wide stop, have you still got enough risk to reward is the question you should be asking yourself as a trader there. So next, what we look for is, once we're in the trade, okay, we're going to use the manager to actually manage that trade. So what we have here is we have the green ribbon, if you like. It's our bias ribbon on this 1 minute time frame. So we can set that. It's on moderate at the moment. We can set it to aggressive if we get real parabolic moves, or we can just purely leave it on moderate. We can put it on conservative if we're trading on the 15-30 minute time frames, that sort of thing. So we're in this trade. Let's talk through this price action. For me personally, I traded the opening range and then went down to sort of the 5 and the 3 minute, but that's all going to be in a trading journal that I'm going to make in the coming weeks for that trade. But let's just talk about how we would use this cradle to grave. So the cradle is the signal. We've gone through that entry strategy. We've gone through where the stop's going to be. We're sensibly using sort of support and resistance zones to help guide us with those entries and also those stops. And then we're using the manager to help us with this trade. So let's just get rid of that risk reward a second. That's our entry. Remember, the green, as long as that ribbon stays green, we stay in the trade. Okay. There are other things that where a lot of retail traders would panic, and this is where the manager helps you get through those. So what we look for really is, when we have pullbacks, we look at the volume. So this initial pullback here, we had a red doji, so there's more sellers in that market. This is the cyan candle is a down candle, but it's lower volume than that previous candle. Then the next candle actually has lower than average volume. These two candles were average volume because there's no dots above or below. Then we start to move again. Then we go sideways on lower than average volume. We get two candles higher than average volume, but they run out of juice. The cloud is still green. We start to move again. We go sideways again, lower than average volume. Still green. We start to move up. We pull back down. Average volume, lower than average volume, lower than average volume, coming back up again. Cloud turns red at this point. We get out. The cloud is 4 candles in front. So 1, 2, 3, 4 there. So this is our exit when we get that cloud turn on this close here. So very, very simple strategy. We look at the ticks. 483. Okay, that's a big trade. Okay, that's a very big trade. Again, I only took 200 ticks out of this because I was trading a slightly different strategy, but this is how you should have traded it. I live in Europe. I like to get in and out, take 200 ticks and finish my day. Today, it's 6:10 in the evening. I'm usually well finished by now, but I'm doing this this webinar. So cradle to grave, cradle, signal with the expert algo, sensible entry strategy, looking at support and resistance zones, stop sensible, good risk reward, lots of fresh air. We're in the trade. We then, again, when you look back through here, manage it with the manager is very, very important. The manager stops you getting out too early. So this pullback here, a lot of retail traders in the past, before they got the manager, would have got out. They would have panicked. They would have panicked here as well. They would have panicked here just a little bit more and they're out. But guess what? We get another 6-star buy here. Have we got enough risk to reward with this one? Stop conservative here. 5-star buy here. We know we're on a run. 1 to 1.6. Okay, we're okay. That's pretty good. Another trade here if you wanted to take it. Comes in and it goes sideways. But look at all these lower than average volume. They're really taking, this sideways action's not really gaining any momentum. Majority of these candles are lower than average volume. And then we go up into the resistance zone here. Okay, get another 6-star buy. It's going sideways. We're going into the evening here. You need to be out. 1 candle higher than average volume, 2 candle higher than average volume, 3 if you're not out by then. So again, another little trade to end there, but the main thing is signal, and then we've got those managements with the manager there. So this is why we call it the cradle to grave bundle, because we get the great signals with the expert algo, and then we're patient with the manager to manage those trades to get us in there and to keep us in is the main thing there. So that's NQ. What I'm going to do now, anybody want me to look at anything? Just put it in the chat and we can go whether you've had a good trade or anything like that. Let me know. If not, we will go through another example. We'll go through CL this time. Let's go to 3 minute there. Okay. I only know that because there's some good trades on there. Okay, so sometimes we can look a bit scrappy. But not everything looks perfect, guys, okay? And what I wanted to do, I actually had a meeting with a guy in Canada just this evening, and I wanted to show you, I showed this on the 12 minutes with CL. Good time frame, and you'd still be in this trade. But I want to talk about entry strategies here. The long was a great long, and to be honest, you get out there. But I want to concentrate on the short on this time frame. So, the last example we did was a 1 minute time frame. This is a 12-minute time frame, so more of a longer term play, but also very important to understand when we're framing the chart, support and resistance zones here. Okay, let me just put that on there. Okay, so we have, in essence, we've got a really good sort of, linear channel here coming into the European morning. We have these Asian overnight lows, okay? Really good support there. We get, from that support coming into the early European morning, we get a 6-star buy, and that's a good little trade. What and more importantly, when that fails, if you like, and we start to come back down, it's a decent enough trade, we take some profit, but then once the stock market is open at 9 a.m. in Europe, we start to get higher than average volume sell-off here, all the way down. We test this overnight Asian support, bounces back up a little bit, that gives us just enough to give the expert to give a signal, okay? So we get a 5-star on this candle, 6-star on this candle. For me, that 5-star closing below this support is good enough, okay? It's good enough to take the trade. So my entry is here, just 1 tick below this candle. We want the stop just above the tick, just above this pivot just here, where the 5-star candle is. Let's put that red. Okay, the next thing I'll do is look at major support and resistance. Excuse me, it's been a long day. We're gonna put that in there. I mean, this is a big support zone here. Okay, so looking at previous sessions, this is sort of Asian, US going into Asian. This is a big support zone here. But this is what we're interested in. Stop entry. What's our risk to reward? Okay, well, 1 to 1.4 ish. Okay, that's a good looking trade for me on futures, especially as I've now got the manager to help me stay in that trade. I'm just going to take a drink. Excuse me. Okay, so 5-star sell, you're going to go one tick below. That's where your stop's going to be. Okay, you could go more aggressive, but to be honest, this pivot just before the signal candle is pretty perfect for a stop position there. The thing is, this trade then is just to manage it. We get the entry 1, 2, 3 candles later actually. Then we pull back against the move, but lower than average volume, these blue dots. Okay, the algorithm for the manager, the look back pair, it's all worked out, all behind the scenes, and just gives you a dot. So this pullback is lower than average volume. We do get a higher than average volume candle here, but it's an indecision doji. Okay, so that really doesn't give us an idea of the behavior. Then we start to come back up again on lower than average volume. Peaks out, higher than average volume coming back down again. Okay, going sideways, higher than average volume coming down again, higher than average volume, trying to push through here. We're going sideways, lower than average volume, really struggling to push up here, even though we're getting 2 accumulation candles. These green candles are called accumulation candles. There's more buyers in the market than there is sellers, but it's lower than average volume, runs out of juice, starts to come back down again. The manager is keeping us in this trade. Right now, this trade, from the entry to where it is right now, is 111 ticks on oil. 111 ticks. Okay, over $1,100 per one contract on oil there. For, you know, what was the risk? What was the risk? Let's have a look at the risk here. Okay, for $740 risk, that's pretty good. That's pretty standard. It's not perfect. We would have liked more fresh air, but we have the manager to understand when to get out, when not to get out. Now, for me personally, once we get, this is a little sort of trick, if you like. Again, the manager surrounds my trading brain for managing trades. So when I see a move like this going into this support, and it bounces back up but fails and then starts to move down again through this support, my stop has to be above this pivot here. Got to be more aggressive with this pivot. I'm above the red cloud. Okay, we've had some great moves down. We've gone sideways as low and average volume. Now it's coming back down again. So I need to lock in some profit here. At this point here, when we have the big move down to test support, I can adjust my stop to risk-free, okay? Because that's above this pivot. We have the higher than average volume move down, okay? To test support, it's trying to push through. Let's go risk-free. What happens? We get lower than average volume behavior, tries to push up, fails, comes back down again. Now's the time to lock in profit. Got to be very patient with this type of trading. We've had great signals. You've got to let the manager tell you the story. What's the behavior like? Yes, Stealth, the opening range trade, 25, 30 ticks. Sometimes you can get 50 ticks if you have a big move. That's about right for an opening range trade on gold, okay? If you're on oil, probably the same. But to be honest, if you're on NQ or anything like that, you're looking at 100, 200 ticks on an opening range trade. But that's a perfect trade on gold there for the opening range. You know, it's pretty standard, 25, 30 ticks. I'd be very happy with that. $300 per contract. Great trade. So does anybody have any questions about what I've just talked about here? One of the things that anybody can get in a trade, the expert algo gives you a high probability trades. The 5, the 6-star, very high probability trades. Those signals are good. We've got sensible entry strategies, but more importantly, the second half of that cradle to grave is how to manage the trade and not to panic. And the manager gives you a picture of what's happening with the average, where you know, on that particular candle, that 12-minute time frame in this point, during that 12 minutes, there was more sellers at this point here than there were buyers, because it's red and it's a distribution candle, but it was also higher than average volume. Okay, on this move back up, it was lower than average volume. We were down candle, indecision, up candle, more buyers. Okay, it's an accumulation candle, but it was lower than average volume. It ran out of juice. If that green candle there continued and we got higher than average volume, just get out. Okay, very rarely does that happen when we get these expat signals. Turns back around and we get this move down with higher than average volume, giving you lots of confidence. And this higher than average volume trying to push through gives you a lot more confidence as well. We're going sideways with lower than average volume, and then this candle hasn't closed yet. This candle is lower than average volume right now. It hasn't closed. See what it goes like. Okay, Wolfgang, we'll have a look at that. So we've gone through the cradle to grave now. This works as long as you've got volume on your broker. So all futures brokers have volume. If you're using forex, to be honest, if your broker doesn't produce volume, then you need to change brokers, because half the picture with trading is volume, and then you combine that with price action. So you know, you've got to be very astute with that. And obviously crypto, there's volume there as well. So let's go and have a look. Let's have a look at crypto now, and we're looking at ETH. Let me just change my watch list to crypto. ETH on the 1 hour. Okay. Just going to isolate that there. Have I got? I need to put Elliott wave on. Got that many different chart sets. Elliott wave's not on here, so let me just put it on. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Is that the one you're talking about, Wolfgang? Nice little move there. It's coming back strong right now, 3,604. You traded that? Yeah. If I'd have seen that, to be honest, one of the ways to trade this fifth wave is we can't play. Can we play back on this? What candles are we on? We go back to normal candles a second. Bear with me. Let's just put it back on Hypothetical, does it? Doesn't really matter. You just can't play back on Hypothetical. I'm just going to put a vertical line in there. Once we get that wave 4 pivot at this point here, I'm just going to put that on the chart just to help me, just to help guide me. That's on the 1 hour. So you're looking for a move up from that wave 4 pivot here. So if we go down some time frames, so we're on the 1 hour there. Let's go to the 5 or maybe the 15, 12, something like that. So let's go back to where that was. Let's take the Elliott wave off that lower time frame. Let's put the X-spread algo on. Okay. Now, I'm not saying the 15 minutes is the one. I mean, this move up here, when we come back down to test, that's the move on the 6-star on the 12-minute. But I did notice here on the 3-minute, let's go back. Oh, blimey. There's been some great moves today. Absolutely phenomenal moves today. You got some confirmation on 3 and probably 5 minutes for that move up. But the main thing for me was this, you know, this big candle here. That was my issue for that trade. Any entry would have to be above that unless you were being super, super aggressive. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put that across. Okay, I'm going to go back to that hourly time frame, and I'm going to show you that there. I'm just going to actually put that in with something else. Does that make sense that you've had an attempt before and the attempt failed at this point? Okay, so what you need is something on a lower time frame to give you confirmation of that signal. Now, you did get confirmation here with this candle with the divergence cloud, but what I'm looking for on a lower time frame, whether it be 5 minutes, 3 minutes, or whatever, I'm looking for some confirmation to push me up through there. That's where it was here. Okay, there was a 6-star buy here, but it was too far away. This 6-star buy, so this was that resistance zone. This was the wave 4 candle on the hourly. We got a 6-star buy here, which was a good move up to that resistance zone. But if we're being sensible and saying, oh, well, hang on, we need, that was rejected before, it could be rejected again. And guess what? It was. Okay. We wait. Then 3, 5, 6-star divergence cloud confirmation. You know, this is our entry here. Okay. There's all of this messing around before. We're struggling to push through. But now, all of a sudden, 3, 5, 6-star, we get the divergence cloud confirmation. Boom. Okay. That's what you should be looking for. Multiple time frame strategy is quite difficult initially, but when you see an elite wave 4 pull back on an hourly or a 4 hourly, go down some time frames. What's happening? Where's the resistance zone? You know, is there something that's going to be, is there a head and shoulders on that wave 4 pullback that's going to be a bit of a problem? Draw that resistance zone in, then, you know, you just got to wait for a great signal. And this was 3, 4, 5, 6-star. I mean, this just is building up momentum, really is building up momentum. Pushes through, massive trade. Okay. And then we've just had another one right now, and that is phenomenal. Really great trade. Bitcoin 54,000. Wow. Okay. Anybody want me to look at anything else? You know, it could be forex, crypto, futures, stocks, anything like that. You know, we've done the cradle to grave bit. Really happy with the examples we used there on NQ and oil. We've looked at really combining Elliott Wave there and XPRAT on the on crypto. Where did I start my wave count? So it started down at this low here. There's the A pivot, 1, 2. But to be honest, the wave count would have been the same here. I just let it run on 0, to be honest. But you know, that support zone, using that would have been the same result. What I would do now is I would probably look at. Let me just bring my normal crypto over. Let's go to 4-hour Ethereum. Okay, I'm just going to put in some support here. Let me just on that wave count. I want to go higher time frame now on Ethereum. I just want to see what's happening. 11727. Okay. So all I'm interested in at the moment really is, because we were basing around here on Ethereum, okay, because we were basing around there, and what I'm interested in right now is this current current trend that we're in. So we are literally, I'm just going to try and put a channel on here. We came out of it slightly, going back in now. Now look at the behavior of this. So we got a lot of pivots on this harmonic pattern, and then we formed a really great strong base here, good support. We've had a nice move up. We've pulled back on a wave 4. Now we're trying to push through this next resistance zone that I have on my chart. Okay, now this is quite a strong resistance zone, but if it can push up and get above 3,700, you will see that if this fifth wave becomes longer than this third wave, everything will be recalculated, and that will now be a wave 3. So what I'm looking for on Ethereum in particular, I'm looking at the 4-hour right now, is that if it can break up and close, you'll probably see this sort of action where it goes up probably to say 4,000 at the middle line here, maybe. Okay, we then pull back on a wave 4, because that will turn into a wave 3. We'll pull back on a wave 4, and this previous resistance will be support, and then we'll go on and we'll hopefully make some new highs. So when I go back to my daily time frame on Ethereum, which is down here somewhere, this wave 4, good basing here, nice move ups, pull back. Now we've got that basing again higher. Our target really is 5,200. Okay, that's where we will start to break those highs. But I think sort of intraday on this 4-hour time frame that we just discussed, we're probably going to come up and test these highs. Okay, these recent highs, pretty much where I said it would be. Okay, look at that. Okay, the reason you get skilled and you get used to drawing these channels on the 4-hour, the hourly and everything, and where it hit the center line is where obviously that coincides with that. I didn't know, but that just by drawing that channel, I had a pretty good idea roughly where that's going to happen. And then when you go to the daily and you're looking at this previous resistance zone, that's where there's a high probability that that's going to happen. So that's where we're looking for this next move to find resistance, center line of this channel, and then very, very important. Then we come back down to test this as support, and then that's almost like a spring recoiling. We get another push and we go, and then obviously we try and look for those new heights. So that's what I'm looking for on Ethereum at the moment. As you can see on the weekly time frame, this is a really great wave 4 pullback on the weekly, great support. We got a 6-star buy in the weekly on the way back up. We've got this, we've pulled back. So when we're looking on the weekly, we can see this higher support on this move back, and what we're looking for now is this breakthrough on this weekly to break through here and go and test that 5,200, and using Elliott wave to try and predict those sort of price levels is pretty accurate really. But there's some work for it to do yet. Honestly, there's some work for it to do yet. Just have a quick look at Solana while we're here on the daily. Okay, so again, most of you know I got in Solana at $25 on some expat signals, and now it's at 159. But I have added to Solana after this wave 4 pullback. I put it in the Discord group as well. Okay, I bought some coming back out of this wave 4 pullback when it broke here. I bought some the strong support. I think I've got 104 Solana now. Let me have a look. Let me have a quick look. All the security to log in. It's pretty cool. Bear with me. Confirm on your app. I did. It's been a bit slow. Today. So let's go to my wallets. I'll bring it across in a minute when all the account information's disappeared. So with Solano, what we're looking for is, that was my initial purchase here, the 78 Solano, and I got that at $25. Those two other positions after that wave 4 pullback got 12 and got 14 Solano there. They're all staked, they're all earning money. There's 13 days accrued on this, 39, 15 days on that. They're all earning money. So not just am I buying, but also that's accruing more SOL for me. So as you can see right there, 78, 70, 18, 90, 104. And what that does is when you stake that, it puts in your fiat and spot. So, but then when that runs out of that 90 days or that 60 days, when that runs out, your initial 78.32, for example, goes back to your fiat. It adds to the Solana you've earned, and then you restake it again. You compound it again, which is really, really cool. So when you go to fiat and spot, you'll see here in Solana, 0.4 Solana for doing nothing but staking it. So really, really cool. I would expect that with those 104 staking, I would earn, at least 1 Solano a month, which is not bad. The target is to get to 200 Solano in the next sort of 6-12 months, whatever. So I've got a good start there. So really, really happy with the staking there. Very, very happy. Nice rejection on high volume today on SOL as well. So that is looking pretty good if it can hold and then push tomorrow. Any more questions on anything, guys? We're going 40 minutes now. New registration links. So not a lot of people on Zoom because we had a year's worth of registration links and we just had to renew. So we didn't get as many people as we usually get in, but that's life, I'm afraid. So anybody want me to look at anything else? The main thing I wanted to cover was cradle to grave today. We've covered Elliott wave quite a bit as well, so I'm quite happy about that. But the main thing for me was cradle to grave, with the expert giving signals and then the manager to manage those trades. So unless, guys on YouTube, if you've got any questions, ask them now. Otherwise, I'm going to go. You wanted me to look at Facebook stock stealth? Yeah. Okay. That bar number is 2179. As far as the wave count's concerned. Yes. We had the wave 4 hit the 5th wave target and now it's coming down. Good entry on the dip. I think you have to go to the weekly for that. Thanks, Wolfgang. The stock suffered because it can still suffer because of the WhatsApp and Facebook debacle. That's we dropped a bit because of that. I'm trying to look at, just frame the chart a little bit really, just to see where these support and resistance zones are. We're in one right now. Okay. So we've got a nice move up, got a dip coming down. Let's go to the weekly time frame now. Doesn't help. Okay, there's no buy signal for me there at the moment because we've had a 6-star sell on this day. If it holds here, the main thing at the moment is the 55 is above the 89 EMA card on the daily. It's come to join it. So we're in a situation now where it's very important what happens next. Okay. If this fails, it's going to come down and test $300, in which case then we've got to look for support. If this, holding and look for an entry. And to be honest, I would probably look for 4-hour, no less, or daily expert signals to get in, because that will, the stars will be more aligned for the longs. Right now, we are in a bearish trend. We're not just in a correction because we've actually breached the previous wave 4 pivot on that on the bullish trend here. So in reality now we are in a bit of a bearish trend. Now it could be a complex correction, but right now I would be a little bit tentative because, to be honest, you could get it for $300. Why get it for 331? I could be wrong. My crystal ball isn't always right, but right now this behavior is telling me, just be careful because we are in a bit of a bearish state. The bias is bearish as well. Look at the Elliott wave oscillator coming down here. This is pretty strong. So right now there's patience with Facebook, definitely. Okay, guys, I'm going to get going. Thanks for turning up today. Hopefully we'll get more people next month, and we'll get those registration links out for the Zoom. But I don't mind doing it on Facebook. It's great. I love Facebook. We're on Facebook and YouTube Live right now, so very happy with that. I think the main takeaway today is really how to use the expert algo and the manager combined to give you that cradle to grave, so that great signals, and then staying in that trade. I mean, that trade still, okay, on the oil is still in, okay, without a doubt. Look at this, okay, the trade is still in. Wait for that cloud to go through your linear support resistance zone and then move your trading stop there. Be patient. Let the manager do the work for you, okay? Okay, guys, I'll speak to you all really soon. Take it easy, everybody. Cheers, guys.